So welcome to Digital Futures Education, where I'm going to try to give you some updates on EdTech, AI, and some of the top trending topics. At Digital Futures Education, I try to provide updates around the top trending topics in EdTech and education, specifically as technology is changing weekly as we see the development of AI really transform, our learning landscape and learning experiences for students and the environments in which we teach in. So the very first topic I want to talk about is AI guardrails in education. And first topic I want to talk about is AI guardrails in education. So schools are adopting what's called AI guardrails. These are clear AI guidelines for students and for educators. This is used to promote safe, ethical, and unbiased use of AI. These guardrails are designed to help. These guardrails are designed to help educators and students utilize AI safe, effectively, and responsibly. So the emphasis with AI guardrails is transparency, basically the openness around discussing the use of AI and how it can be used, bias that can happen with AI, mitigation, and data privacy. So the challenges with AI is it does present new areas of data privacy that need to be continually monitored so that they don't impact student data privacy, such as student or staff data privacy or personally identifiable information, which may be collected by the AI tools. So to give a short reflection on what I think is valuable with AI guardrails is I think the biggest part is just the transparency first off. If you have not made an effort to communicate on specific uses of AI in a district, or you haven't, laid the groundwork for what is safe, ethical, and reflective use of AI and what it means in your classrooms, then you really need to be. You need to take that step, to communicate the value of having some AI guardrails, just to have more thoughtful and concise use and have, I think it's okay to have educators develop their own processes at times with the use of AI and trust in their use of it ethically and responsibly. There still needs to be a lot of communication and understanding around the technologies that are at play with generative AI. Generative AI is incredibly powerful. And I also think that we're seeing different types of data being input into these software applications that are not maybe yet even identified as personally identifiable information, such as retinal data, voice data, all the types of data that, support, natural language processing and machine learning. And what are the companies doing with this data as they collect it? I think that's an important piece to kind of also consider is the privacy policies and the continual shift of data between companies, that are signing privacy policies for one district, but then maybe selling or changing the location of that data down the line. I think there's a lot of new challenges that are being presented with the use of AI, and it starts with just being thoughtful and having an open dialogue around what guardrails need to be in place. But it starts with having open discussions around the value of AI in education in terms of preparing students, and also the value in AI in education towards productive workflows, and also understanding exactly the impacts of using AI. The next topic I want to talk about is personalized learning in education, specifically as it relates to the use of AI. So personalized learning platforms are utilizing AI to tailor their products to support the needs of students in a wide variety of ways. And in this process, they're utilizing performance data of students, which I think ethically can have some pros and can have some cons. A lot of these personalized tools that utilize AI have adaptive assessments. They have automated feedback and also pacing adjustments in real time so that learners' understanding of content material is adjusted over time. It's shifted towards their performance, and it's designed to support the learner, where they're at with the performance data that's tracking, how they're doing within the platform. It's now possible to integrate student engagement data into these metrics tied to student performance. So I think that's kind of an interesting fact because I think that's what, many EdTech products have been looking for years, in terms of being able to have realistic data around, does this tool that utilizes technology engage students and assist in them performing better? So I do think that's a tremendous opportunity. So the question I want to ask is, if you're using AI tools with performance data, or you're utilizing AI tools with an existing ed tech tool, are you seeing the difference in student performance? Are you seeing an impact with the integration of AI? And if you are, what tools are you seeing it with? And is it turnkey for you? Is it tools that are easy to adapt to? Has the move to utilizing AI within these tools been seamless for you and been able to provide new opportunities for, measuring student progress during assessments or during classwork? And is it working? So I'll provide a link below to a couple resources on this topic in case you're interested in some further reading. But it's an interesting topic, I think, since I do think it's at the heart of what EdTech tools have been trying to do for years. Next topic I want to talk about is AI-powered cybersecurity for schools. So schools and districts and technology departments are beginning to utilize AI to assist in their cybersecurity measures. AI is now a part of assisting technology teams at identifying and responding to cybersecurity threats as they happen in real time. And some of the main areas that we are seeing this happen is in student transportation, student information systems, and mass communications tools. AI does have the ability to greatly enhance threat protection as it relates to cybersecurity, and that really helps support IT teams. It helps with being able to improve response times to incidents and also identify incidents before they happen. So do you have a major concern with cybersecurity in schools? That's my question for you. And if you do, what is it? I would say for myself, some of the biggest cybersecurity issues that I see in schools is districts that may not have great controls over their devices. They may not have strong management in place for their domain and the accounts actively connected to their domain. And they may not have good workflows in place. And additionally, I think sometimes schools sometimes underestimate the capability of students' knowledge of technology to do things which are malicious. So I definitely think that it's important to keep in mind that, technology is changing incredibly quickly, and it's important to be sure that your systems have threat protection, that, it's great if it does implement AI as a preventative measure to identify threats, whether it's on the firewall or the filters within the school's infrastructure. Additionally, on endpoint protection with devices such as Chromebooks, laptops, or any device that a student connects to. It's really an important step. It's important to make sure that it happens, that the IT team makes sure that they're able to monitor potential threats and limit the possibilities for potential cybersecurity risks. It's all about mitigating, potential risks before they happen, and also preventative measures of student access to networks that they shouldn't be on or accounts they shouldn't be able to access. I think I'm definitely interested in reviewing cybersecurity tools which utilize AI in order to see if their technology can, speed up threat response and also identification of potential threats. I think that's a huge win for technology in terms of improving the responsiveness to these types of threats, particularly in schools. So thanks for tuning in. If you're an educator or a leader trying to make sense of the EdTech world around you, I'm with you with that challenge as things change. And I appreciate you checking out the content in the videos. Please give me a subscribe if you're interested in checking out more videos. I appreciate if you like the topics. And feel free to drop a comment. Let me know what you think or any thoughts related to these topics. And if you have any insight you want to share with other educators, go ahead and drop it as well. All right. Thanks for checking us out. Hello. So I just finished up teaching my class, um, and um, this is a scripting class that utilizes the Red Hat platform. Um, on the right time to do a little reflection on the ride home. Sometimes I do these, I've been doing the reflection in the morning. I think maybe it's a good time to try one on the way home. This is currently my one in-person class per week. Uh, good in person. It's a good chance to connect with students in person. So I would say the most engaging part of tonight's class was when I moved students off some indirect, some self-directed labs, and I showed them a video that they could watch to support one of the labs. And I also used it as an opportunity to introduce them to some new resources and other ways to understand Linux scripts differently. And, essentially, independent learning is great, and it's great to have self-paced opportunities for students. But, even if they're getting things right, sometimes they are not necessarily being pushed in an independent learning environment to kind of explore. They're not being pushed sometimes hard enough. They're not always being pushed hard enough to explore other ways of learning the content. So what I did was, I had some additional ebooks and I had some additional resources which taught some of the same concepts, but had different types of diagrams, different ways of explaining the concept, and had some great ways of replacing some of the concepts with other concepts so that the main concept could be understood. So some of these resources definitely help just show the learning in a different way, help show how something could be done differently, and also helped just show a concept differently. So these students were definitely into seeing the content differently, having the resource, particularly the students who could direct themselves with their learning. They definitely wanted me to share the resource with them so they could go through it. So I spent a little bit of extra time at the end of class putting the links together for them after having in class demonstrated a couple of the examples of the code. I also then turned that email into an email with some other students, then flipped that email to some other students that I thought would like the resources. So I feel like it was a win all around. And it gets students to understand that sometimes you don't have to just, rely on the book. You can look for other resources, can identify some resources which help explain concepts to you better. The second, and I would say another very cool part of tonight's class, engaging for me, and I think also engaging for the students, was I have 3 students from Nepal. So, they had mentioned they were from Nepal, and, 2 young gentlemen, 21 and 23, and a young lady, I think she was 23. And they both just shared how they were here on a 5-year visa. So, they're all picking good fields. They're all learning how to work, and they're also helping each other quite a bit. So they just explained how, small their country is, how it's not much bigger than any of our states here, and it's landlocked, by India and by China. So, they love telling me about it, and I loved listening to them, talk about it. And I kind of shared with them, the you know, value of starting their degree, staying focused, and not getting distracted. Um, and they totally understood that. We talked about how much time they have to work and how their parents are helping support them while they're here. And I talked about some of the options, after their associate's degree towards a bachelor's degree. I spoke to them about the benefits of pursuing internships, both as they get this current, 2-year degree and while they're getting their 4-year degree, and to take advantage of the opportunities they have while they're studying, and also look to find maybe potential jobs that support their skills they're learning in school. And the amazing part, I think the amazing part with talking with them was just how positive they were, optimistic, full of energy, and just, energetic and wanting to learn. So they definitely have formed their own little group in the class, working with some of the new students. Their attendance has been consistent. I recognize that they're probably having, additional struggles in adapting to American culture, but they're working and they're here and trying to basically take the next step in their careers, and they're learning and they're recognizing, what fields to go into that are in demand. Those are great in demand fields. So that was refreshing because you don't always every night get to engage with students and have them share their flag and some of their custom. Student, talked to me about how he's going to Amsterdam, at the end of the month, so he'll miss a class. Very responsible student. Wanted me to know. Got a pretty cheap flight, I thought, like around $500 or $600. And staying about 20 minutes outside the city in the Airbnb. And he's excited, and I think that's going to be pretty cool for him. But he was just sharing that. Uh, I had some students catching up on work tonight, but overall, there's like that good energy in the class right now of people collaborating, working together, learning the material, and I feel like I want to share with them and teach them more, stuff beyond even what the course is providing them. I think with these types of classes, the challenge that is faced is, you know, finding a way to connect with the students, um, whether they're from different cultures, countries, and also, different levels of technology and IT learning. Some are great at doing the activities, and I think, are excelling at being able to follow directions and do things to completion. And then, but their exposure stops there. So, what I try to do is try to expose them to something that has additional practical applications in the real world, just so that they don't have a narrow scope and understanding of, how these skills can be used. In this course particularly, it's Linux administration. Basically Bash shell scripting and programming, and they're basically learning how to write scripts to manage processes and utilize commands in the command line. And it's a good introductory curriculum for IT, and definitely a skill that is desired, on resumes. So they're learning those skills, and you know but they don't have the context, they don't have some of the real world experiences. So wherever I can provide additional context or explain why something's explained a certain way, then I do it. I think for the most part the student response tonight was pretty good. I mean, I have students in different places at this point. Some are motivated to finish the curriculum, some are still working through lessons. And I think the challenge is that maybe some of them maybe still want additional kind of lecture and specific step by step. So if they don't get that, they feel like maybe they're not learning the piece. Now, I'll be able to do more of that when everyone is on the same page a bit more. So over the last 2 weeks, it's really been about kind of getting them all on the same page. Since I want them all to be successful. And at the same time, now I can really start to sprinkle in these extra components to the class, which I can go to at a different level than if I tried to do it while teaching the content of the independent self-directed curriculum. Because that independent self-directed curriculum is very specific to the activity. The career advice I shared is just kind of having a direction. I also think another piece of that is valuable, in terms of just maybe life advice as well, is, stick with what you start to a certain extent. Like if you're in a 2-year program and you're like 80% done or 70% done, don't get too many ideas around changing it up, and taking more courses that would keep you from just finishing. I think there's a lot of value in just finishing what you start, than going back on it at any time in a degree program. I mean, maybe if you're in the very first couple of months of a program or in the first year of a 4-year program, but for the most part, you know, don't get cold feet deep into a program, because I think you ultimately will hold yourself back. And I think the key part of that is resilience. Um, I think the more I think the more resilience you have towards finishing what you start and understanding, okay, I started this. I understand maybe there's parts of this that I don't want to, or I'm going to have a hard time finishing. Just finishing is going to teach you something about yourself that nothing in the curriculum would. And I think there's value there. And you're going to have the opportunity. You're going to be much more clear minded when you take that next step. And it's also going to teach you, or I had to learn something. I have this like master, and so this particular course is a hybrid course. So what they mean by that is we meet about an hour and 50, an hour and 20 minutes a week, but they have a lot of work they should be doing on their own at home. So I've always been limited with the amount of time that I'm able to interface with them in person, and they should be working on their own. So the in-person time is a challenge in terms of balancing the lecture or what I need to go over with them or student check-ins with, additional content or monitoring their progress. Now, I think online courses, the pros of online courses is that students can advance their learning and kind of, keep learning. The cons of online courses is that, their learning might be very limited to what they're exposing themselves to. And how experienced are they with working on their own and developing, good study habits and good work habits, so that the online components, they have that sense of independence to complete the program. So I think that's an essential skill, really, is start to finish. From start to finish, it's important to have students understand how to manage an online course, how to get started, how to build momentum, how to reach milestones, assess their projects, teach them progress, teach them the skills to upload files, rename files, submit assessments. Students are all over the map sometimes with their ability to do that. But the better that they, but the better prepared they are with the skills to manage themselves independently within an online course, the more successful they're going to be in life when they need to do a lot of these tasks on their own. So I think communication skills are really important in IT. Um, so I think for these students, their ability to be independent, adaptable learners is really important. Self-sufficient, complete tasks, check in with their professor, check in with their teacher, and understand the bigger picture context of why they're doing what they're doing, while at the same time mastering a skill is important. They need to learn how to advocate for themselves a little bit. There's a little bit of growing up sometimes in the early years of college, uh, or if they haven't had a lot of independence, where they need to be held accountable and told like they need to try to start doing things, more independently, um, to be successful. And they need to advocate for themselves, but at the same time, they need to understand what's expected from them. And this transfers directly into the work roles. Um, so I think students who are in IT programs or doing certifications, I think it's really important that you recognize that a lot of the work that you're doing independently while completing a certification, or a lot of the work that you're doing, in an online and in-person course, is directly going to help you transition, into the workforce in terms of understanding expected and anticipated outcomes. What is your employer going to expect from you in terms of your learning on the job, understanding priorities and task management, and being able to, be effective and be productive, for the organization and also for yourself, and just feeling like you can manage and have uh, you know productive work days, while at the same time learning new skills and seeing how they apply to you in the everyday. You know, so that's essentially my takeaways from tonight's course. Definitely a great class. Becoming a great class. And I think it takes time to kind of meld with the student, at least half a semester sometimes, like for them to understand your expectations, get them to work a little bit, dig into a little deeper, get into their work, support them, let them know that you're working with them, and then allow them to grow a little bit, and then push them a little bit more, and hopefully, you know, have them grow to the point where they see it as a valuable experience towards their future. So thanks for checking out the video. Please give a subscribe if you get the opportunity. Hopefully you like it, and check back in for more career development and IT skills, as well as ed tech topics on digital futures education.
Hello everyone, I want to give you a quick overview of how Notebook LM can work. Now this is just a few simple examples of how you can utilize Notebook LM for creating new types of content. So this is the Notebook LM homepage. You click on Try Notebook LM. It would take you in and you'll create a new notebook. And it would be untitled, and you might want to title it American Revolution. That would be my topic. And what you'll notice about Notebook LM is it has sources over here, it has a chat area here, and it has a studio deep dive conversation and adding notes, study guide, briefing doc, FAQ, timeline, and save notes will be here. So one way that you can utilize Notebook LM is if you have an outline that you currently use for teaching materials, you can click here and add it as a copied and pasted text. You also can start with some web-based resources, which I'm going to show you right now how to use. So let's say I've Googled American Revolution. I'm looking for some resources. I'll go ahead and I'll take the Wikipedia link here just as an example. I'm going to go back to my Notebook LM homepage. I'm going to click add a source. And here I can upload sources if they are files. I can go to Google Drive. I can go to the website, YouTube, or copy and paste. I'm going to click on website and paste that first resource in. And now this Wikipedia page on the American Revolution is considered a source inside of Notebook LM. Okay. Once you add a source, it's instantly going to provide a brief overview of the source here within the chat window. I'm going to add 2 other sources just as part of this demo. So I'm going to go back to my search, and let's say I really want to use this causes and timeline from history.com. I'm going to add that as a search. Put that in there. Now I have two sources. I could also upload a PDF or other static file. And let's find one more. Let's find this. Let's take this video. So we're going to add a video resource. I'm going to copy the link address to that video, this website, paste that link in there. Actually, I want to use the YouTube option right here, YouTube. It's only the text transcript will be imported at this moment, and only public YouTube videos are supported. So now I have three sources inside here. And if you notice here, you'll have a different indicator for each source. And let's go ahead and get started. So let's say that you have a specific desire to create a document or other type of learning resource from these sources. So you can utilize the prompts that are already here. How did Enlightenment ideals shape the American Revolution's causes and consequences? And just note, before I click this prompt, right now it's selected all sources. So it's going to utilize all the sources to kind of answer this prompt. It takes a moment to think. And then what it's going to do is give me a note. So it gives me this breakdown of causes of the revolution, consequences, and it has some bullet points, but it also has what source is cited here that is contained within the text. Now, if I liked it, I can give it a good response thumbs up. I can also copy and paste all of the text into another document. But if you are doing continuous work, you're going to want to click on Save to Note. And when you click on Save to Note, over here, you'll notice that it makes a note here, exactly what was created with the prompt. You can delete that if you want to, or just reduce it. And now that note is contained. So what I've done here is we've, skipped ahead a few steps, and what I've done is I've added sources by clicking add source, and I've added websites, and I've added YouTube links, and you can see those right here, and they're all selected right now. So you see that, if I click add source, they're all selected. This is a website, and then you see the red YouTube symbol. That is the YouTube video. So what's important to know with Notebook LM is that if you have all the notes selected that you've added, and then you have either the prompt, which you can run, they do provide some built-in prompts here in the bottom of the window. You can also write your own prompt, but it's going to give you the result of all of the sources that you have selected. So this, based on this prompt right here, how did economic factors fuel the American Revolution? You can see that it produces this text based on all of those responses. Now, let's say I want to ask the same question as a custom prompt. I'll put it in here, but I only want the YouTube video. So I'm going to click on only the YouTube video, and then I'll run the prompt. So here you're going to see it's now thinking about the prompts. And so this response right here is only using the YouTube video. The one before it is using all those resources. Whenever you have a resource, whenever you have some text created, if you click on Save to Note, it gets added over here to the right side. You can also choose to like it if you like the response, and you can also copy and paste it directly out of here, as I spoke about before. And let's say I liked the one from the YouTube video, I'll hit Save to Note. Often it will have a different name, usually the beginning text, And what you can do is you can actually use these notes that you've created as sources themselves by hitting convert to source. And if you notice, it brought it over and added it as one of the sources. So if I wanted to use all the sources, I'd click all the sources, and now those are available. So I now have content created that I can copy and paste out of here if I want to use it directly with citations from where I grabbed them from. So if I like them and want to manipulate them and put them into my own document and edit them and transform them into my own writing, my own materials, I can, and I also have the source to cite. Now, also important to know is over here, as I've created different notes and saved them, they get added here, and you can delete them, you can open them up, you can look at them and use them as you need to if it's a specific piece of information that you want. You also have this great feature of creating a study guide, which will generate some vocabulary words and some questions to answer. Also some frequently asked questions, and I'll show you what that looks like, a briefing doc, and also a timeline, which can be generated specifically for a topic like this, the American Revolution, which have specific dates. So what it's doing is it's taking all the notes that I've created and it's creating a timeline and these FAQs, also the study guide and the briefing document. So here you can see here's the study guide, which has short answer questions and the key essay questions and navigations of terms if you want to get a start on utilizing those with your students. It also has the FAQ, causes and consequences, what were the primary causes, what were the long-term effects generated from your resources. And then we have the briefing doc. Well, this is the timeline, actually. The timeline of the American Revolution, early seeds, taxes imposed, a number of resources, cast of characters, to give you a full picture of the characters and some of the main themes. And let's find, so we've covered the short answer, the primary causes as the FAQ, the briefing document, and here's the timeline. So those are the type of resources that you can get generated. Now, I also could convert these to source, but the key is that you are basically utilizing resources to generate new materials that can be used the way you want to. And you have built-in prompts. You can write your own prompts, let you know how many sources there are, and also note that it does sync with Google. So if you wanted to add a source directly from Google Docs or Google Slides, you can do that. And also I find that copying and pasting an outline, a pre-existing outline that you've made, or something to kind of frame your research is also helpful, particularly at giving you a framework for the start of your research. So you could start with a timeline or a specific outline, and then find resources that support it, add those resources here, and answer very specific questions using those resources. So that's my quick overview. Hopefully you get encouraged to try this out. It's a great way to utilize AI with resources that you're familiar with the content is coming from. And always think about how you're going to repurpose the content to make it authentic and make it your own as you begin to use it with students and for your own materials.
Hello and welcome. In this video, we're going to explore how educators can use Google's Notebook LM, a powerful AI tool designed to revolutionize how we interact with documents and information. We'll look at how Notebook LM can help teachers work with many of the text we use daily for lesson planning, and how it can help us synthesize information, remember key points, and create new learning resources for students. Often, the sheer volume of words in our teaching resources can be overwhelming, but Notebook LM can help us dive into these materials more effectively. Some of the key features I'd like to discuss about Notebook LM is its AI-powered information organization and summarization, its interactive chat in course materials, time-saving lesson planning, So here are some of the key features of Notebook LM that I'm going to cover. It's AI-powered information organization and summarization. It's interactive chat in course materials, time-saving lesson planning, AI-powered note management, audio summaries, responsible use guidelines, getting started with the tool, the importance of user feedback, and next steps in getting access. What is Notebook LM? Notebook LM is a tool designed for organizing and summarizing information, acting as an AI research assistant and note-taking companion. It analyzes, summarizes, and provides insights based on the documents you upload. Think of it as a way to converse with your course materials, whether it's a textbook, lecture notes, or even YouTube videos. It uses advanced AI to help you navigate complex information, providing source overviews that include summaries, key topics, and suggested questions to help enhance your understanding of the materials. Notebook LM provides AI insights, document organization, and lesson planning capabilities. One of the most significant benefits of Notebook LM is that it saves teachers time on lesson planning. It can quickly generate study guides, FAQs, tables of contents, timelines, and briefing documents from uploaded materials. Additionally, it offers audio summaries of source materials, allowing educators to review content on the go. Notebook LM also helps teachers stay organized with its AI-powered note management. By uploading multiple sources and generating summaries, key topics, and questions, teachers can better manage and organize their course materials. These tools can free up valuable time, allowing teachers to focus more on instruction and student engagement. When using Notebook LM, it is important to follow the district's policies on data privacy. Google has also stated that Notebook LM won't use your personal data to train its AI models, which is an important consideration for privacy. Always ensure you avoid uploading sensitive or student identifiable information to protect privacy, and always review the AI-generated content for accuracy before using it in your classroom. This ensures that the information you share with your students is correct and appropriate. Remember, while Notebook LM is a powerful tool, it should be used responsibly and ethically. To begin using Notebook LM, you'll need to start by requesting access, which may involve completing a Google form. Once you have access, the first step is to log into the Notebook LM. From there, you can start by uploading your documents and beginning to explore the tool's many features, including the chat interface, the various resource generation tools, and audio summary option. You can start by uploading your documents and beginning to explore the tool's many features, including the chat interface, the various resource generation tools, and the audio summary option. Experimenting with different features can help you understand how Notebook LM can best support your teaching practices. If you need assistance or additional training, there are help and training resources available. For Notebook LM, although the specific locations are not identified in your sources, it's important to remember that as a new tool, your feedback is invaluable for improvement. So do provide your thoughts and suggestions to the developers. Together, we can ensure that Notebook LM continues to evolve to meet the needs of educators. To get started with this tool, complete the form to request access to Notebook LM, take the time to explore the tool responsibly, and begin using it to enhance your teaching practices. By integrating Notebook LM into your teaching workflow, you can unlock new ways to engage with your materials, deepen your understanding, and enhance learning outcomes for your students. Thank you for your dedication to being an innovative educator.